Hey, everybody. I'm Luke Moyer, head of global clinical supply chain at Insight, and I am so excited to be joining the BSMA summit this year on June 22nd and 23rd in Foster City, California. And I'm particularly thrilled to have an opportunity to lead a workshop for newer clinical supply chain folks. And that workshop is called Avoiding Clinical Supply Chain Mistakes You're About to Make. And that's going to take place on day one or the 22nd in the morning of that summit. You know, I remember when I first started working in clinical supplies 25 years ago that there was a lot of moving pieces. There was a lot of new information that was being thrown at me, and very often there were questions that I didn't necessarily always know how to answer right away. Typically, there's more than one answer to those questions, but I knew I was responsible to answer those questions, and that there was a lot riding on the decisions that we make as clinical supply chain managers that reach across the entire enterprise for each of your respective companies. Um, that's a pretty intimidating proposition, and it can very often be stressful. It can especially make you feel very lonely if you're in a small group or if you're an army of one in a new startup or a biotech. And so the good news is that you're not alone. Actually, BSMA was established to foster best practices throughout the pharmaceutical industry, especially for the supply chain community. And so the workshop that we're doing on that first day is really born out of that spirit of community and helping one another to spread best practices. So what we're going to cover, we'll sort of take a look at all the different factors that you might be looking at and help to break them down to the critical few that you should be focusing on first when you're developing your forecasts. We'll talk about waste and some of the biggest sources of waste in the clinical supply chain. And we'll dig into some lean manufacturing concepts that have served me pretty well. So I'm talking about push versus pull manufacturing approaches, just in time manufacturing, the difference between overage and safety stock. We'll have a look at some of those different things. Then we'll also talk about some of the things that you should really keep an eye on from the CMC side or the supply side and not just the demand side, and help to build some efficiencies into your supply plan so you can avoid extra processing or rework. We'll talk a little bit about some of the key things to watch for IRT medication management, give you some good rules of thumbs to sort of set those up in a way that will be successful. And then we'll consider all of these principles together, and we'll actually take time to build a simple forecast right there on the day, so you'll have something that you can take away and begin to use immediately after the conference, which I think is pretty cool. So if you're new to clinical supply chain, I hope that you can make it out to spend that time with us on the 22nd of June in Foster City. And if you're not new and you've been doing this for a long time, I hope that you'll join us too, because it's in that spirit of community. It'd be great for you to bring your experience to bear to help get some of our colleagues off to a great start as they embark upon their clinical supplies career. So either way, I look forward to seeing you all in Foster City on the 22nd and 23rd for the BSMA Summit, and you can get information about how to register for that on the BSMA website. Thanks a lot. Talk soon.